Howdy, howdy. It is Monday night, and that means...
Let's talk about
Sorry, took you by surprise there. Yeah, it is Monday night. Where were we last Monday night? I feel like, were we here? I'm totally lost.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, I've just got to play the sound effect.
Why? It's a sitar.
Yeah. I just wanted something that would capture the spiritual, highest potential sort of vibe-y thing.
So we are talking highest potential tonight, and the reason is some of you may have watched Mary Young speak on Sunday morning, and if you did, one of the questions that she got asked, Mary Young is the co-founder of Young Living, she was married to Gary Young, and she actually got asked what was one oil that Gary wore every day. Well, actually it was what oil would he use for what's going on in the world at the moment. And Mary actually said that Gary every day without fail used highest potential. Okay, and then she went on to talk about how he used highest potential and what he did, and it reminded me of so many stories. And the thing is that a lot of you are new and you didn't get a chance to meet Gary. I know Jeremy didn't get a chance to meet Gary, and I met Gary on a number of occasions, and I was actually telling Jeremy a story last night about Gary when I was on Silver Retreat, and
Are you going to get all emotional? I can hear it already.
When I was on Silver Retreat, which is at the St. Marie's Farm in Idaho, we didn't know if Gary was going to be able to make it because he was building a distillery up in British Columbia, and it had to be built before the snow came because, you know, once they get snowed in, they can't do anything. And we were out of Valor, and Valor was Young Living's biggest seller at the time. And the reason that it was out of stock was to do with the black spruce. And so he knew that he needed to get this distillery up and running to get more black spruce so we could have more Valor. And so it was like, do I fly down to Silver Retreat and see these silver leaders, or do I build the distillery? And so we kind of were like, oh yes, well, we don't think Gary will come, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, here at that time, there was only 300 silvers at Silver Retreat. It was rather small compared to today. And here we all are in a room listening to guest speakers, and suddenly this energetic shift happened in the room. And I know, like, woo-woo, blah, 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 like, but seriously, even me, who is so, not woo-woo in any way. Well, I am woo. But I felt it, like, and people all looked at each other, and like, no one knew that Gary was here, but everyone was like, Gary must be here. And it was this huge energetic shift in the room, right? Yeah. So whether that's because he wore so many oils that his frequency was so high, or who knows, but his energy was a really, like, anyone who ever saw Gary speak or hear him, like, he was an energy in itself, okay? And Mary talked on the weekend about how every morning the two oils that he used pretty well every day were Valor, and she said that he used Valor, even though I use Valor for courage and to help me when I'm feeling anxious and all of those kinds of things, he actually used it, she said, as a physical oil. So more to align the energies of the body and on his back and things like that. Whereas he used highest potential as a really high spiritual frequency oil to make sure that he lived his highest potential. And you know, like these days, I talk to a lot of women, and they tell me that both them and their kids have brain fog. And I actually think it's a lot to do with the chemicals and stress and all that kind of stuff. Like a lot of the chemicals that we're exposed to every day, so chemicals in our water like fluoride and stuff, and chlorine, the chemicals that are in our products, all of the chemicals that are sprayed on our food, all of that combines to give us a bit of brain fog. And we're so overwhelmed and stressed that we can't actually think clearly. And so to help me think clearly, I actually like to diffuse highest potential. So I pop it in the diffuser, or I like to put it on my crown chakra to actually help, you know, connect to something higher, but mostly to help me think. Like, you can't reach your highest potential if you can't even think, and our kids can't think. Our kids are so bound up in technology and all that kind of stuff that they can't think. So to get them in touch with their highest potential, you know, diffuse this oil. So what's in highest potential, Jeremy?
Well, I'll tell you what, there's 22 different oils.
It's a blend of 22 different oils.
And technically it's a blend of 2 blends as well, isn't it? So
Yes.
there's 2 blends in there, which are Gathering and Australian Blue. Australian Blue is actually one of my favourite oils after Valor and a couple of other things, but I love Australian Blue. And then it's got Ylang Ylang and Jasmine. Now, just a quick run through all the oils. So it's got Northern Lights Black Spruce, Vetiver, Frankincense, Royal Hawaiian Sandalwood, Ylang Ylang, Rose. In fact, both of those blends have rose. Lavender, Geranium, Cinnamon Bark. It's got Blue Cypress, more Ylang Ylang. So they're the 2 things that appear in both Ylang Ylang and Rose. It's got White Fir, Geranium as well. It's got Grapefruit, Tangerine, Spearmint, Davana, Lemon, Ocotea. So it's...
22 different oils. But the reason it's got Australian Blue is Australian Blue is very calming. So if you have children who have overactive minds, like they're always, that's me, right? I am thinking like 100 times a day. My coach at the moment has got me doing brain dumps because I am just constantly thinking, my brain's just running high and it's overactive. And so I need to ground and come down. And so Australian Blue is a great oil for grounding and calming the mind, stilling the mind, because you can't concentrate on something if your mind is racing at 1,000,000 miles an hour. So that helps me to calm.
Yep.
Gathering, so it's a blend of Australian Blue and a blend of Gathering. Gathering, I used to think Gathering was to gather people together, right? And so I used to put it on at events in the hope that I'd gather more people. And sure, it might work like that. And obviously, if you put the intention out there.
Yeah.
But I later learned from Gary that gathering was to gather your thoughts. He used it to gather his thoughts. So, you know, like as I said, I've got a thought here and a thought there and a thought there. And so it helps me to calm my mind, gather my thoughts, because you can't reach your highest potential if you can't do either of those things. And I know kids these days really struggle with that. And so putting some highest potential, as I said, you can put it on your crown chakra, you can put it on your locus coeruleus, which is that little indent in the back of your neck at the top of your spine. That's kind of like the circuit board for your body. Like it's got all the nerve endings that shoot off to your brain and shoot off to all different parts of your body. So it's a great place if you make up a roller and roll it on your locus coeruleus. But the other thing is that there are a couple of other points that you can put highest potential on. One is the top of your right ear. Okay. Now the thing about the top of the right ear is that if what's holding you back from achieving your highest potential is your issues with your mummy or your daddy, then put it on the top of your right ear, okay? Because that is an emotional release point for issues with our parents, okay? So if that's what's holding you back from achieving your highest potential, put it there.
Better give me some of that. I love you, Mum.
If the issue is that's holding you back from your highest potential is your ability to absorb knowledge and wisdom, then put it on the top of your right thumb, okay? So you can actually just put it there, do some VitaFlex with your other finger. That's for if you have difficulty absorbing wisdom. So if you've got to study for an exam or something like that, put highest potential there on your right thumb. And if your issue that's holding you back from reaching your highest potential is to do with compulsive behaviors such as addictions, or you know, maybe you have a lack of consistency, something to do with habit, then put it on the top of your right toe, okay? So there's some other places that you can put it, but I just love to diffuse it. I've been having it since Mary talked about it on Sunday morning. I had it yesterday morning and I've had it on twice today in the diffuser, and I actually really like it. It was one of those oils like Gathering, and it's to do with the galbanum, I think, for me. Galbanum and cedarwood. Really high sesquiterpene oils, so go away. We won't talk about it today, but you can look at other videos that we've done on the chemistry of oils, but really high in sesquiterpenes. They're the ones that are great great for thinking, great for your brain, you know, all that kind of stuff. So if you want to reach your highest potential, I know that sounds really woo-woo, but like Gary had an amazing energy about him. And I think it really came from using this oil every day. And, you know, so go out.
Can I just say too, to add to that idea of reaching your highest potential, like I've spent a lot of time coaching people and being a life coach, and that's, at the moment especially, I've never seen it like this before, but there are so many things that are just wanting to push us down and stop us being who we really can be, whether that's advertisers who tell us that we're not enough, whether it's what's happening in the world at the moment in terms of just confusion and division, all those things stop us from achieving our highest potential and being the people that we can be and that we're made to be. So, I love this for exactly that reason, that it helps release those blocks, it helps deal with those things, and helps us to become the people that we are meant to be. And at the end of the day, that's who you're supposed to be. Forget about copying other people. Just be yourself, but be the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that this blend can really help us be.
All right.
There's my little sermon.
We'll see you next week. Oh, actually, tomorrow night we have a feelings kit workshop. We're doing an emotional detox. So if you want to learn how to use the emotional oils to help you in your life to balance your emotions, then join us on the emotional detox workshop tomorrow night.
If you're cynical about this stuff and you do think it's a bit woo, come along. And I was exactly like that. But I did an emotional detox workshop with Kim a while back. It was the best thing ever. So
all right.
I was converted.
See you guys.
See ya.